As you can see, we take off and it's 98 foot above the ground to waypoint 1, but as we slowly carry on we go up to 272, 360, 367 feet on top of the hill, and then we start to descend on the way back. I can carry out any number of different actions at each waypoint. Stop, turn the lights on and off, start recording, stop recording, stop, take a photograph, take a panorama. There are many actions you can do, and you save them within each waypoint. Right, as I take off, gently turn around and go up the slope. The idea of this is to be able to judge how high the altitude the drone needs to be able to go up the sides and avoid colliding with the ground. It really is just guesswork and judgment to start with. What I'm going to do is fly over the I'm heading now down towards the reservoir, and I'm going to fly across the water and then up the other side and hopefully guess the altitude right. As you can see, it's a three-sided valley with a reservoir in the bottom, and it's quite high and it is quite difficult to judge, but I'm helped with the view that the drone sees, so it is guesswork to start with. I'm now flying over directly across the reservoir as the drone slowly turns around and faces the direction it's going to fly in. And as you look towards the summit there, we can see that it can be anything between 50 foot higher than where I'm stood, or 150 foot. Now as I start to fly up, there is a path there that walkers go on to the top. It seems quite popular here and a lot of walkers do go up. So here we go, the drone now is over the other side of the reservoir and it's moving now up the valley towards the top. As I flew up the valley, I could see that I wasn't raising the altitude enough, and I got through the view, I was a bit too close to the ground, so I had to adjust a couple of times on the way up. At this moment in time I'm below the skyline, so if I just let it run on I would have hit the top. As I walk along the bottom I can see the path from the road, but I never realised it was quite this windy, so it's a fair walk up there for people. I was slowly adjusting the altitude of the drone, just a bit at a time, but as you can see now, at one point I ended up just about 10 to 20 feet above the ground. As I climb over the skyline and I carry on across, the drone now is about a mile away, and you've got to be of an altitude so that A, you can continue to see the drone, which is called virtual line of sight, and B, that the drone is high enough to keep the antenna in direct contact with the drone. What I can see in the distance now is another reservoir further across. I can see the dam at the left hand side. I'm going to fly a little nearer and then at some point I'll turn around and I will go back. If for any chance the drone was to lose direct contact with the antenna, the signal, the drone would stop and just hover, and it would stay there for about 11 to 12 seconds, and then it would set off back, which is called return to home, and head for the point that it took off from. You've got to make sure that the altitude it climbs to will avoid any obstacles on the way there. So you have to consider all this before you take off. Quite near now, so now I'm going to just take a couple of photographs, turn around and head back. The drone now is turning round on its own axis as it flies back towards where it came from. As you can see, we're not too high above the above the ground, and there are some rocks that are stuck up, so you have to be careful. Yeah, there are some long windy walks up here. A lot of people do come up, especially in the summer months. And as now you can see, I'm coming back through that little valley on the crest, and the drone is slowly turning round and it will head back down. The farmers come up here with a drone on the quad bikes, and instead of having to drive for miles over the moors, they just send the drones up, find out where the sheep are and head straight for them. Farmer I was talking to said that he saved 4 hours a day doing this. As the reservoir comes into sight, I'm over on the far side. Halfway up the hill there's a road runs right the length of the reservoir, and I'm over there. I'm flying back now as I'm very near to the ground actually, but I'm quite confident and I feel safe, and I'm starting to descend and come down and follow the contours of the land. And I've decided I'm going to fly to the end of the reservoir, more or less, and go along the other side at the edge of the reservoir, and then turn up towards where I'm parked and I'm flying from. It's a lovely peaceful day. There's not a lot of people about, I'm glad to say. In the centre of the picture, on the extreme right, my vehicle's just come into sight. A black vehicle, it's only tiny at the moment because we're a fair way away. And I'm slowly coming down and down to go along the edge of the reservoir and follow the contours. But the house you can see there, the building, the farm building, I've decided I'm not going to fly along there. I'll head straight back to land. It shouldn't take too long. I could, of course, flick the drone into speed mode and head back at 40 miles an hour. But the whole idea of going out with a drone is for relaxation, and it's now just cruising along steady. 10 miles an hour perhaps, maybe less, as I'm heading directly now for my vehicle, which is on a little lay-by in the side of the road. It's ever so peaceful around here, it really is. I'm manually flying the drone. I've not got it on autonomous flight, directly return to home, because it would climb to the height that I'd set, come back directly overhead and then descend using GPS as best it could to the exact spot it took off from. So I'm just flying along, controlling it, leaning on the vehicle, relaxing, enjoying the day. Right, it's coming back to the road. I'm flying it directly back to the road, and then I'll turn it round, fly directly overhead, and then it'll just descend. It is possible to switch the camera to point straight down, so you can line up the crosshairs and hit the exact spot. You have to be observant when you're coming into land, because if there's vehicles passing and they were to collide or drive off the road or whatever, it would be me that would be responsible for causing it. There's the little laybys and stuff. I'm coming down and I'm just landing on the grass. Yeah, been a very nice day.